Hi, my name is Todd Marinshaw, and this is Vision Made Real. Today, we're going to talk about scaling your business with purpose. A little bit about me. Before that, I am a 20-year entrepreneur at this point. I currently own Allen Sportswear. I co own a business called Valor Pro Global, and I started and I currently am on the board of a nonprofit called I Prevail. So as you can see, I stay very busy. I have these three businesses that I work on, but I also love to talk about how to do it. And this is kind of a passion for mine. I love helping people out. I've always loved helping out other business owners. So now I'm doing this as well. And hopefully you guys like it. If you do like it, please remember to like and subscribe. If you're listening to a podcast, obviously you can like and follow. And now on to the topic of the day, which is going to be scaling your business with purpose. Okay, point number one today, we're going to be talking about starting with a solid foundation. This is probably this is a really important point here because if you don't have a solid foundation and you try to move forward, you're going to collapse. It's inevitable. So, um, how to start with a solid foundation? How do you know you have a solid foundation? Typically, when you have a solid foundation, you have customers you can rely on. They come back to you. Customers that feel that you're great, you're getting good reviews, you're making more money than you're spending. Okay, this is a very big one. You need to be making more money than you're spending. Okay, um, this is something that I've messed up with a lot. Okay, so uh, just to bring this up in a way that hopefully will help people here. Okay, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way over 20 years, and so I'm going to bring a lot of these mistakes up. So hopefully you don't make the same ones. So I've ran into situations many times in my business where I wanted to grow. I had great ideas, but I'm barely making money, barely covering basic costs and salaries and things like that. But I want to grow. I want to be ambitious, right? I want to blow up and show this crazy in year over year growth. Everybody gets excited about that, and you know what, that happens. And when it does, it's amazing stories, and the you hear about that a lot, and it's brought up in social media and in the news about these companies that absolutely explode overnight. But reality is 99% of businesses they're not built that way. They don't just explode overnight. Okay, they're built little by little. In fact, there's a scripture, Proverbs 13:11. It says, "Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, and whoever gathers little by little, right, will increase it, become wealthy." That's a hard one for a lot of business owners because the reason why you're an entrepreneur is because you want to do well, you want to make money, you want to fly around the world in your own jet, right? So you end up pushing the envelope a lot, but that gets you in a lot of trouble. It's gotten me in trouble many times. Um, Many times we were doing just fine, but I wanted to grow and I wanted to show exponential growth. So what did I do? I did the great American thing of borrowing, right? So go out, talk to the SBA, get this big loan, and put all these projects out. And then in the end, I'm hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, and typically the sales maybe didn't even go up that much. Maybe it's just that I suck at the projects that I did. Sure, okay. So I'm not going to discount the fact that maybe I didn't do the best job in some of these marketing efforts and things that I was trying to do. But a lot of times, if I would have just waited and did the same marketing effort, but did it as money came in, it would have been much more successful. It would have lasted longer, and I wouldn't be hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt with a payroll I can no longer afford. So, um, this is just a big lesson, and it's one that if as an entrepreneur you can learn to only grow as fast as you make money. So if you want to hire new people, great, but don't hire people until you can afford to hire people. You need to be making enough money that if you hire someone new, you're still making money, right? So again, another mistake of mine is I go, oh well, I need my sales to increase, and so what do? I'll go out and many times I've hired additional sales reps going, well, if I bring them in, they're going to bring X amount of revenue. We'll be fine. They'll cover the cost of the sales rep. But it's really short sighted, just in the fact that you don't know if they're going to work out. If they do work out, there's usually 3 6 month period where they cost more money than they're bringing in. And now you're underneath. And you go, as a small business, you go 5 6 months of making less money, than you're bringing in, and you can get in a lot of trouble. So the point of this is, if you're starting a new business, you want to stay in business. All right, that's the point. You want to stay in business, and the best way to stay in business is to build your foundation. All right, never put the cart before the horse. All right, the biggest issue I have seen with not just myself, but with many small business owners is that we love putting the cart before the horse. Oh, we're going to make so much money. I just need to get money in my hands. I need to borrow. I need to ask for things. I need an angel investor. I need all these different things. And yes, there is a time and place for these things. There is a time and place to get an angel investor. There is a time and place to borrow. It's just not while you're building your foundation. It's not when you're barely making ends meet. It's not so you can make payroll. If you can't make payroll, don't borrow money to make payroll. Okay? That's just dumb. All right? I understand you love your people, but you have to have, you have to have a payroll that matches the money you're bringing in. And if you want to have more people, then you better make more money. The other really important part about building a foundation is really documenting your SOPs, which is your standard operating procedures, right? You really want to make sure that there is a book, somewhere people can go, a Google file, whatever you use, that employees can go and say, if this happens, what should I do? Because you're not always going to be there. And honestly, if you want to take a vacation, you're gonna need to have that. But it's just good, even for you, even for the business owner, the entrepreneur, just to look back and say, oh, this is how I handled it, and this is how I should handle it. This has gotten our best results. So you really want to build a foundation of how to's, best practices, training manuals, things like that. It's very important your first couple years to spend a lot of time doing this. And I'll say this too. You should keep doing it, all right? Every year you should update these manuals, your SOPs. It's not a one-time thing, because what you'll find is 10 years later, you'll have these SOPs that are completely outdated and might even be hurting your business now because it's not the same as it used to be, all right? Maybe return policies have changed. Maybe the way you handle situations can be much better now because of new tech, or new product. So these are just things that you have to do every year. Just know foundation is key, and you need to make sure that you have a foundation that works for you every single year. So on to point number 2, master the art of delegation. As a small business owner, this was one of the harder things I had. Okay, so I wanted to do everything at first. I wanted to be the sales manager. I wanted to handle the finances. I wanted to do marketing. Marketing's so fun and exciting, and I wanted to essentially be the man of everything, right? And I just want helpers for everything. Okay, this can work for a little bit, but you can't scale. You can't grow. You will never be more than a one-man show, and you can't sell your business. I mean, if your business can't run completely without you, you can't sell it. You don't have a business. You're just you're just by yourself. You're independent rep at that point who's selling a product because you're not a business owner. You have an unsellable business. So in order to grow a business that actually can grow without you and actually can sell, and you can have an exit plan one day, you must learn to delegate. It's very important. So for me, I tried to do everything at first. My wife happened to be working with me, and we got into a lot of fights. All right, that's a whole different story. Okay, but I will just say, don't work with your spouse. just don't do it. Just don't do it. If you're, I don't care how talented they are. Do you want to have a spouse or do you want to have a business partner? Make a choice. And I will say, if you married her, or if you're a lady, if you married him, or married whoever, guys, whatever it is nowadays, but keep them as your lover and keep business as your business. All right, just don't bring them together. Okay. All right. So another mistake. I'll talk about that another time. But she's amazing and incredible. So I brought her in. We worked this together. It was amazing, but we had so many fights. because we're always like stepping on each other's toes. We didn't have clear boundaries of what we wanted to do. We didn't delegate each other, right? So, towards the end, obviously she does other things now, and she's incredible. She's doing great at a corporation right now that she works at. But towards the end, we had completely separated our duties so that they never overlapped. Like, she was the final authority on her duties, and I was the final authority on mine, and that kept the peace in the house. But it was just a very, I didn't want to talk about work. When you go home, you want to talk about things that aren't work. And when you're married to someone who works with you, every single date, every hangout time, every private time becomes a business conversation, and it's really tough. It's really tough to stay married. So, anyways, I'm going to leave that one alone. Kind of going off on a tangent there, but let's just keep that one separate. Okay. So, delegation. As a business owner, assuming you are working by yourself, you are going to want to take on what you are best at, and that's it. And you want to delegate everything else. So, for me, I was always in sales, so I just stuck with being a sales manager, right? And at first, I wasn't really a good sales manager either, to be honest. I was always good at sales, but sales manager and sales rep are two different things. And I wasn't that good at being a sales manager. Had to read a lot of books, had to learn a lot about humility, had to learn how to really help people and put them first, and not just like drive, and keep demanding from them without giving anything in return. I mean, there's just a lot of lessons there that we can go into, but it was something that I decided I could pour my heart into, at least, and I learned and became much better sales manager over the years. But that's all I really focus on. I will keep I will keep my eye on everything else. Obviously, I have to overlook everything, but my day to day as sales manager, everything else needs to be delegated. So I have a bookkeeper, I have a marketing person, I have my sales reps, and these things I talk to them. I have my meetings with them every week, right? I'll do a couple meetings a week. You always want to be on top of everything. So we have two meetings, every single week, just to make sure I know what everyone's doing. But in the end, I give them a lot of autonomy to kind of run and do their own thing, and then let me know what they want to do, right? And I can either say yay or nay, but they come up with the ideas, they come up with whatever. I come up with my own stuff at times. Sure, I'll throw it in there, but I still let, like, for my marketing person, I'll say, hey, I kind of want this. I want to run with this concept, but I still let her do what she wants from there. I let her kind of take care of it, put it together. I'll do a final approval, but I kind of try to stay out of their business. Because if you start micromanaging all of your employees, not only are you going to be miserable, they're going to be miserable. And then your employees are going to quit on you. And then that sucks. I'll tell you this, as a small business owner, one of the hardest things you can ever do is find good employees. So to lose one because you're annoying and you micromanage them really sucks. And it puts you back months, if not years at times, because it's hard to compete with corporations for getting good talent. So when you get good talent, try not to piss them off. You know what I mean? Like, be cool. All right. So, and you're not going to make someone mad faster than micromanaging them. All right. So, delegation, guys, very important. Make sure you do it right. Make sure you get help. Make sure that you're getting feedback so people are in spots they feel that they're good at, that they're needed at, and that they're succeeding at. So this goes to my third point here, which is building a strong team. We already started kind of going into that. You really want to encourage people, again, when you hire them, to take ownership of what they're doing. Sales reps are the kings of leave me alone, right? No sales rep I've ever met wants to be micromanaged. Give them a general outline, make sure they understand the product, the prices, things like that, but let them be them, right? Maybe give them a little bit of idea of how you would like them to run things. Like, I will say, hey, I want you guys to at least spend an hour a day calling X, or an hour a day doing this. But the rest of the day, I leave it up to them. And the great thing about sales is, if they do a great job, well, guess what? I'll know, because the sales are great, right? So if the sales suck, well, then they're not doing a great job. And at that point, I can sit down and we can go over more of what they're doing, and maybe I can help fine tune it or help them out or kind of move forward and get them rolling. But honestly, many times if you hire a sales rep and they can't get it going after 3 to 6 months, they're not going to get it going. All right. So it's not going to happen. I've had sales reps so many times where they're good people, hard workers, they're busting their butt, and they just can't sell, right? So I give them all these tips and give them books and help them out and spend all this time with them. And 9 months later, they're still selling just like they were, when they're the 3 months in. It's just, sales is one of those things. Either they have it or they don't have it. You can either be a sales rep or you can't, and if you can't, you can't. You just move on. It's not a big deal. It's not for everybody. So find good people, give them autonomy, allow them to be who they are. Again, going over my marketing person, I did the same thing. Bring someone in good who can run with things. If you bring in a marketing person, they need to be micromanaged. You need to let them go quickly. It's not the place. They can be a marketing assistant, I guess, whatever you call that job, But as a small business owner, you can't afford a marketing manager and a marketing assistant, right? You need one person who can kind of run the show. Now, all this brings me up to my next point, which is leveraging tools, okay, like AI and outsourcing. No one's a one-man show. And let's just go back to marketing again, okay, since we're on this marketing train right now. I have a girl who's awesome. She's super talented. She's kicking butt. But if I asked her to do all the different projects that I have, and I have a lot of projects, right? Rebuilding my website. You got to rebuild your website every few years. It's just kind of mandatory in today's day and age. I'm updating my website, putting AI, which we'll talk more about that. I got marketing efforts going on with TikTok and Instagram and X and all these different platforms and YouTube. It's just too much. It's too much for one person to be able to run effectively and do a good job at. So what I do is I do a lot of outsourcing overseas to people who can do a lot of these jobs in different countries, and they help her out. She essentially now will manage them. So not only will she do her own, but she manages them to get videos in, to get social media posts out. All kinds of different things, all kinds of different projects. We have people doing website stuff in different countries. So I do a lot of outsourcing, guys. If you're going to be successful as a small business owner in today's environment, you have to outsource. It is absolutely necessary, 100% necessary to outsource. The dollar goes so much further when you outsource. So that's why I actually started another company called Valor Pro Global. It actually helps small businesses find great talent overseas. And sometimes it can be really scary. You're sending money over, you don't know if you're going to get any help. They're going to run off your money. It's crazy. So I actually did start a company, and that's what we do. We hook people up with incredible people overseas who are, a quarter of what it would cost to get a good American. And as a small business owner, this is a huge competitive advantage. You have to be able to leverage this. All the big companies are doing it. I mean, all the call centers are overseas. Most of their web stuff is done overseas now. And there's a reason why, because it's much cheaper. And that goes to my other point of outsourcing, which is, would you rather have an employee who's super happy because they are getting paid maybe a little bit above average or well above average in their country and they're living a good life? Or would you rather get an employee who's paid below average in America, who can make as much money at McDonald's and they're always constantly looking for a new job? Okay? So for me, it's a no-brainer. I want the happy employee. I want the person who loves working for me. I want an employee that's going to be with me for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. You're not getting that in America. Unless you're a huge corporation that can afford to pay people hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, you're not keeping people, okay? You're a stepping stone to something better. So if you want to keep people, you want to have a great team that supports you, you need to learn to outsource. Okay, you need to get outsourced people. You need to get people who will be loyal to you, who love working for you, that you'll have them for the next 10, 15 years. And even if you're paying them a quarter of what you would pay an American, they're extremely happy because they're having a very good life where they live. That this is good money for them. They can feed their family. They can have a car. They can have good things in life. They can own a home. These are things in third world countries that you're outsourcing to that they can get even with paying them a quarter of what you would pay an American. Okay. So as a small business owner, it is imperative that you learn to outsource and also to start incorporating AI. Okay. So here's the sad truth about where this world's headed. It's good and it's bad. Okay. So it's not going to say all sad. There's good things too. But the days of just starting a mom and pop and being seen and getting on maybe Google and people finding you are coming to an end very quickly. Okay. It's all going to be AI. The whole world is going to be AI driven. People aren't going to go to Google to say, hey, where do I find a small business in my town to go buy X product, right? They're just going to ask ChatGPT or whatever AI, because there's going to be tens of thousands out there. And they're going to say, hey, send me a link to a company that sells this. And whatever that AI unit sends is who they're going to go to. And that's already happening. Okay, so the days of Google search are over. All right, it's just you got a couple years left where being ranked on Google is all you needed to have a successful business. Those days are over. Okay, they're over, and then we're going to go into to that'll be in the next point. But just bringing up that AI has to be something as a small business owner that you embrace fully. All right, we have the AI chats that will talk to people. We'll talk to them about your product. We'll give you leads. You need to have AI chat in your website. It's incredibly important. You need to have AI helping out your reps, especially your sales reps. Hey, how do I respond to this guy in a professional way? I mean, I can't tell you over the years how many times we made, myself included, have made customers extremely angry by sending them a reply that I thought was fine that they took the wrong way. Okay. And then now we have the ability to run a reply to maybe an angry client or a disgruntled client or someone who wished they had things better and be able to get a better way of saying it. Okay. Where you go, oh, I never thought of saying it that way. But now it helps you to say and do the right thing. It's not that it's telling you what to do. You're telling it, hey, I need to say this to this person. What's a good way to say it? And it'll literally tell you, say it like this, right? And it keeps you out of a lot of trouble. So I would highly encourage you as a small business owner, pay the $20 a month to get ChatGPT or Grok or whatever it is that you like. And in the future, keep looking for whatever AI is coming out. But there's some really, really good AI tools that will help you just in basic everyday communication, marketing ideas and things like that, where it's really got to be your best friend. Okay, it'll tell you marketing ideas. It'll tell you how to talk to people. It'll tell you, your industry and where it's going. You can even do searches where you're finding potential clients through AI. Okay, so as a small business owner, every dollar has to go as far as it can. And the best way to do that is through AI and through outsourcing. All right, I think we beat a dead horse there enough. So let's move on. Let's move on to the next point, which is, we already kind of hit on it, grow your social media. All right. So in this crazy world that we are going into, social media is going to be the number one way to get leads. All right. The days of, again, thinking I can get ranked on a search engine and I'll be fine with Bing and Google and all these other search engines, and people will find my business and will do fine. It's really over. Again, a couple years maybe, a couple years left where search engines matter, and then they won't anymore. Okay. So you're only going to get found two different ways. One is that an AI unit loves your company. At this point, I don't know how to get AI to like my companies, but hopefully one of them finds me and likes me, right? And then if someone asks, like, hey, I need uniforms or I need overseas talent, they will send them to Allen Sportswear or to Valor Pro Global, right? That would be wonderful, and I'm be getting all kinds of leads out of that. Okay? But I can't expect that to happen. I have no idea how these These AIs are going to find businesses that they think are right for the clients. I just don't know. Maybe one day in the future I will know. Maybe there'll be an algorithm that figures it out. I have no idea. But as of today, nobody knows. Um, so that being said, that leaves one other thing: social media. So if you are starting a business or you have a business, you had better get on top of this social media thing. Okay, I know a lot of small business owners, they'll put a little bit of time in social media and they'll focus on everything else. If you're going to be found out, you're going to have to be on social media: LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, um, Twitter. I mean, any and everything. And in a couple years, there'll be another one, right? It's always changing. But you're going to have regular videos, ads, promos. You're going to need to put out good content. It can't just be buy my product, buy my product. You're going to have to put out stuff that matters, right? You're going to have to help people for nothing, right? Just to get followers. You need real organic followers. Um, just from my own estimations, in order to get enough leads to survive as a small business, you're going to need a total social media following of over 100,000 people. It's a lot. Okay. In the next 5 years, you'll need it, and I'm saying between all the platforms, okay, you're going to need a total social media following of over 100,000. If you want to get consistent leads daily, all right, you're going to need 100,000 plus active followers through all of your different social media platforms in order to continue to get leads, continue to grow, and to have any chance of surviving in the AI age. All right, so this is imperative to get on top of this. And just a few more tips with social media. Influencers are good. If you can get influencers, especially maybe if you have a friend that's an influencer, and there you go. Again, we're small. Many of us are small business owners. Not everyone listening here is, but if you have friends or people you know, great. If not, some social media influencers aren't as expensive as you would think, and you can get some pretty good shout outs. You can get people, doing regular shout outs to about your business, which is great. But in the end, you're going to need your own following too. All right. So those are kind of like band aids, and it's fine, but you're going to need to have your own content. You're going to need to be able to provide great content out there, educational, entertainment, inspirational, whatever it is that your business is. You're going to have to find content that people you're trying to attract like. And it's going to have to be a foundation for you. Going back to that first point, social media will need to be a foundation of you finding your leads and making sure that you have revenue in the future. Alrighty, so now that we know about growing our social media presence, let's move on to the next point, which is point number 6 at this point, I believe, which is entering new markets. All right, so I have found over the years that many business owners get very stuck on their product, especially new business owners, which I find very surprising. Where someone starts a business and they're going to sell this widget, whatever it is. It could be software, it could be a product, it could be a service, right? This is what I do. And other product services, widgets will come up and they go, no, I don't do that. I don't sell those. And they'll keep tossing them aside. And those could have ended up being bigger revenue streams than the original idea. But they wouldn't even give them a chance. I made this mistake myself, so I'll go into my own. How about this? We'll talk about my own mistake here. Well, why not, right? So as I was growing my sportswear company many years ago, we were doing an incredible job with basketball, football, baseball uniforms, and I had a chance to really expand and do volleyball, soccer, cheer, things like that. And I say, well, I don't need those sports. They're a pain. They're hard. Soccer doesn't. They don't usually have a huge market for high-end uniforms, and cheers is really difficult to get all the material right and the sizing right and everything else. So let's just not focus on it, and we'll just focus on what we do well. And at first, I thought I made a really good decision because we did really well for a few years. But then as those markets, I wasn't getting as many leads in them, and we are drying up a little bit. I didn't have any sports to fall back on or other sports that I was trying to build, or like lacrosse was another one that I had put on the side as well. I didn't start uniforms for them either. And I really regretted that decision, that there was no other sport that I could focus on. So even if I reintroduced those sports, it took many years to get those sports moving again, to get any sort of social media presence, to get any sort of following for them. And I probably wasted 5, 6 years not only not doing them, but another 5, 6 years building any sort of significance in those sports. I mean, that's a decade of lost revenue because of a dumb decision to not expand in my own territory. It wasn't like I was trying to expand and do something different. It was still sportswear, and it was in my own territory, and yet I didn't expand in it. It was very dumb. And on top of that, to make matters worse, there was new technology coming out in the sportswear industry where everybody wanted sublimation now. They didn't before. It was all stitched on and hand sewn, and this was a really big thing, and we were really good at it. And as sublimation became more important and bigger in our industry, I ignored it for years. And before you knew it, more than half my clients wanted sublimation, and I was priced out of the market because I didn't have a great sublimation provider, and because of that, I was having to charge more than my competition was, and I lost a lot of business. Another really dumb decision. You cannot fight what the people want. If your clients want something, don't fight it. Go with it. Be the first to jump into it. As soon as I saw sublimation was taking off, I should have went out and made sure we had a great sublimation factory and just gone after it. Like, this is what people want. But instead, I got stubborn. Like, no, this works for us, and this is who we are. Really, really bad mistake. And it's just one of those mistakes that didn't need to be done. So my encouragement to you is, when you get to that stage and you're presented with new ideas, new products, within what you do, okay, not doing something completely different, but within what you do, or new technologies, don't thumb your nose at them. Don't turn away. Embrace it, okay? Just like AI. You can say, oh, AI, forget it. I don't want to do that. It'll be the biggest regret you ever have. Okay, embrace what's new. Embrace it. And if you do that, you'll always be at the forefront, right? You'll always be at the forefront, and people will continue to come to you, and you'll continue to get new clients because you are going to be in the leading edge of this new tech, this new product, right? This new idea. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about today is monitoring and adjusting. This kind of goes back to what I was just talking about, where no matter what industry you're in, it's going to change. And if you change with it, you're good. And if you don't, you're not good. So it's really simple. Every year you got to look, is this the best? Is this the latest? Is there new tech coming out? Is there tech that I should adopt? Now, you shouldn't adopt all technology coming out, okay? There's some discernment there. But anything that helps your product, makes it cheaper, faster, better, you need to adopt it, if at all possible. You need to do it. It's important. If you stop adopting what's new and you stop monitoring and adjusting your business will die. Okay, I know this because mine's have. I've had a few businesses die because I did not adjust. Right, I did not adjust to what was happening, and I almost lost Allen Sportswear because of it, because I did not adjust. A couple times, I have nearly lost my business because I was late in adopting something. I was stubborn and not bringing something in, or I thought I didn't need a particular product that the people wanted, right? That my customers wanted. These are all silly things. And honestly, if you had to root it in anything, I would say it's arrogance. And that's a tough spot to be in. When you are a small business owner and you've done well and you succeeded for a while, one of the toughest things in the world to do is not become arrogant. And I know it sounds funny, but it's just true. You just start thinking you know better. You know the best way. You're the smartest. No one can tell you any different. And when you become arrogant, that will be the death of your business. When you become arrogant, it'll be the death of you as a good leader. And when you become arrogant, it'll be the death of new ideas. So I'd encourage you, before we leave here today, to drop your arrogance If you're starting to feel it, let's say you're doing pretty well right now, be humble. Okay, be humble. There's always someone coming. All right, there's always someone coming for you. Be humble with your employees. Listen to what they have to say. Be humble with where you're at and what you know about your industry and your product, and be humble about technology coming out and how it can possibly help you, right, become better. So if you like this content, I wanted to say again, guys, to like and subscribe or like and follow, depending on whether this is on YouTube or on your podcast. And appreciate you guys listening again. Be blessed. Until next time.